Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with the crypto market review. Today I will be reviewing Bitcoin and some altcoins such as ETH. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert. Do your own research. Okay, so today I'll be reviewing BTC. Obviously this doesn't look very good at all. The 200-day EMA is currently getting tapped as resistance, and this is a very interesting level, this 43K level. Would definitely like to see it reclaimed before assuming that price is going to go higher. I gave a lot of thoughts on what I thought of Bitcoin over like the last few days, and those thoughts really haven't changed even with today's China FUD. As you can see, the current environment is such that it's a very news-driven environment right now where any news will move price. Whereas if you saw back in 2020, there was a lot of FUD all throughout the summer and early spring. Price never really moved ever. It just got absorbed. And any sellers that would sell during those times, all throughout the spring and summer of 2020, price obviously didn't move at all. And that's how you knew this was really accumulation, was price didn't budge, and the buyers just kept buying more. Whereas right now you can see that any type of news for Bitcoin or crypto for that matter really moves price quite a bit. As you can see, like look in the last 1 hour, not great price action that we saw here. So where do I view the market overall? I still am high time frame bullish, but I am certainly going to consider changing bias if the price starts closing in like the mid 20Ks on high time frames. I think that's probably just it for a while. Price will need to reset. I'm really hopeful that the 30K area is like kind of the short-term low. It wouldn't surprise me to still see some like these lower levels like 32K still taps, but in all honesty, I don't really have a great idea of where price is going in the short term. I had a lot of different ideas as to what I thought was going to happen. Like, it made a lot of sense to me that price was going to flip this 43K level and then grind up to like 50K. Like, this is certainly kind of an area that I was kind of looking at, kind of like the 50K area. So it would make a lot of sense to me that Bitcoin would punish a lot of the late shorters, like the people that would short, around 40K or so. Take those guys out, go up to 50K, and then head lower. But at this point, with the China FUD and the fact that this is still resistance at the end of the day, right? Like 42K is still resistance. And price could not break that level, and obviously we're seeing a reaction to that now. High sell volume coming in. Overall this obviously doesn't look great. Now, am I saying that this is going to go to like 20K? I don't really know. I personally do not think so. I at least am hopeful that kind of this 30K region is like the short-term bottom. There is potential that 28K or so does get tapped. There is probably going to be quite a bit of liquidity underneath this wick that was established on May 19th. So there very well could be some liquidity in like the 27K area. There's going to be a lot of people that just get stopped out at that point, and that might give us some fuel. But I still feel that the 50K region is a very big area of interest for myself. However, at this point, and the way the market is looking, it does look like the low 30Ks will be tapped maybe before that time. So what we could see maybe is something like this, and then go higher. And I'm also preparing myself mentally for if price goes to 28K, because if price does go to 28K, we are really going to see a lot of people freak the fuck out, and like price is going to zero at this point. And I'm gonna just keep a very close eye on Bitcoin because Bitcoin is leading the entire market, obviously, like it always does, but even more so now, to the point where any move from Bitcoin really affects altcoins hugely, as you can see in the markets today. And it's always been that way to a degree, but like this is not like January, where like Bitcoin can pull back a little bit and altcoins can still fly. Like the market environment is just way different. So like there's kind of three scenarios I'm viewing. I'm viewing number one, a break of 42K and then head up to 50K and then maybe see a reaction around there. I'm seeing two options for grinding down. Number one, establishing a higher low around 32K or so and then grind up. Or I'm also viewing going lower, breaking that swing low at kind of like that 30K area, going to like 27 or so, and picking up the liquidity down there and then going higher at that point. So those are the kind of the three scenarios that I'm viewing. On low time frame charts, everything's very, very choppy right now. So I would personally stay out unless you're an expert scalper. And I also want to emphasize too, like I said yesterday, again, unless you're an expert trader, I would really consider lowering your leverage for right now, just because it's very choppy and it's very easy to get liquidated right now, as you could see like during that big move down. So just be sure you know what you're doing before you kind of get into that environment. So as I said, these are the three scenarios that I'm viewing. From high time frame charts, I'm still really expecting and hoping that price ranges between like this 28K and 60K area. Price does need to kind of consolidate for quite some time, in my opinion, and kind of just range for a while. If in fact we do want to break all-time highs, I still believe that price all-time highs will get broken around like $75,000 or $100,000, but it's going to take some time overall to consolidate. And if we see the consolidation area, I said last time that price needs a big move in either direction to really form the range. And what we could have just seen this big move the last several days, where price made this huge move down, and we might just sit in this range for the next few weeks or months. Ranges are always established after big moves in either direction, though. You usually need like one big move, like like one big move up, and then like you see like some grind down and then consolidation. If you're theta, you see like move up, consolidate, move up, consolidate. And if you see, like, these are two classic signs of reaccumulation. And for Bitcoin, I mean, Bitcoin has seen like several different instances of accumulation. Like number one, like the most classic that we saw was the bottom of the bear market in 2018. This was accumulation right here. And this is just pretty classic accumulation. Tight candles, low volatility. We saw it a lot in 2020 as well, like right here. And then we saw it again, like in several different situations like this. But I'm actually coming around to the idea that maybe we're starting to look similar to how we saw in August of 2020, where price seemingly accumulated. And right now, I didn't really think it was accumulation given like the structure and given like the high volatility. However, with that said, this big shakeout did happen in late August, early September of 2020, and then price moved up. Again, the market structure is way different. Like price was not at all-time high levels. I mean, it was far below it, in fact. But in a way, what we saw for Bitcoin was price continuing higher, distribution, and then a big drop what we saw, and now we might just need to kind of range for a while. So similar to this type of structure that we're seeing, but the preceding price action before was not similar to what we're seeing. Obviously, like big shakeout in March, I mean, it's very different than what we're seeing today. But this is kind of a little bit of what we're looking at right now. I mean, big move up, distribution in the short term and then a big move down. You can see that right now where saw a big move up, short-term distribution, and then a big move down. And as I said before, like you need a big move down in order to start the range usually. And this is hopeful. This is what I'm hoping for right now. It's just basically for price to kind of just range around and chop for the next few weeks. Now, does that mean altcoins are done? Like I've really thought about this the last few weeks myself. I'm still very conflicted, and I honestly don't have a great like definitive answer. I mean, I was pretty damn sure that altcoins were going to go strong. Like I've referenced this chart like many times, as you guys know. Like this is just the simple. This is the market cycle for ETH BTC, which is a good macro indicator for altcoins. Big move up in this winter. Big move down 1 month later in February or March. Big move up again in March and April, or sometimes May, followed by a summer retrace. Now, this cycle kind of got broken a little bit in 2020 because ETH actually printed its first bullish market structure for the first time in years. Like ETH BTC actually moved really hard in the summer, and then it pulled back very largely in the winter, and I'm sorry, in the fall. And what we're seeing right now is this kind of this cycle restarting where it goes big up in the winter, big retrace throughout March, and then it had an explosive move in the spring. Now, is it over? Like, is this just done? Like, it's certainly possible. Maybe it just goes down to like 0.55. That would be like kind of a level of interest for me for ETH BTC. Something like a pullback like this and then go up higher. Certainly possible. I mean, this could very well be like this blue box now. So if we see, compare it to like this blue box in previous years, maybe what we're seeing now is something like this, where we go see just like a retrace overall, and then we resume up similar to how we did it in 2020. I think this year is a little bit more similar to 2020 given several factors. A, Bitcoin, I expect there to be some ranging activity in the coming weeks. And because it's going to be ranging, and I already explained it, it's because there's a big move that just happened. I think that price will chop around for quite some time. It's quite possible that ETH BTC continues its bullish market trend, which is what happened again in 2020. A bullish market structure was printed with this higher high right here. Like this was a higher high. And maybe this is just a higher low that gets formed around 0.55, and then price just continues up even more. This is kind of my thesis right now and kind of what I'm thinking. Again, I don't have a ton of volition behind it. I'm not so sure like what is going to happen in the short term, but this is kind of my idea, is that Bitcoin is going to range for the next little bit, and altcoins are going to recover after maybe some chop. Like, you know, Bitcoin goes to like 28K, then I fully expect like 0.55 to happen. It'll be like a violent kind of big move down. And then when that happens, I expect price to form a bottom and then altcoins to really just continue higher. Now, I could just be a blind bullish, like this could be blind bullish hopium, as I said, like in previous videos. Maybe I'm just biased because I have like lots of altcoin exposure. But my idea is just that Bitcoin is going to range, and I think during that ranging environment, altcoins could still do well. There are several charts still that look to me decent. Like the YFI pair, and I always bring this up because the YFI pair still to me looks really pretty solid. I think that YFI is like a good example of what I thought was just bullish accumulation all throughout this entire move. Like, you know, we saw big moves up in 2020. This was more like a parabolic run like we saw in 2017 for Bitcoin. Whereas this move up all throughout 2021, there's many situations where price just kind of ranged for quite some time. And to me, this was just like a big accumulation cycle. And this to me does not look like distribution. It doesn't look like a market top. Now, with that said, this chart is still sexier than many others. Like if you look at some of the other charts, like they don't look nearly as good. Like, I mean, we can just look at ALGO. Like this, to me, was just like huge blow off top, second a double top, and then a third triple top. Like I don't know, like kind of reaching around this 170 area, where I would have thought that the sellers around that area were going to get broken down, like if it got tapped again. But what we're seeing right now is just like huge amounts of volatility, and maybe this is just it. So again, different market structure and different chart than YFI, and many other charts too. They just don't look super great. Again, like Uniswap, this is a coin that I thought was going to be pretty bullish. I didn't really expect like this massive move down. I mean, I don't think many people really thought that this massive move down was going to happen either. But I mean, this to me still didn't really look like distribution, but maybe again, I'm just biased. I mean, I am totally, I do accept my own bias, and I do know that maybe I'm just hoping for the best because I have exposure. To me, like I would like to see like price form some sort of low and then chop around and then go up. But because these moves happen so fast and sudden, usually the market needs time to recover. So overall, like my overall bias, as I said with BTC, I mean, BTC is still in a bullish market structure. I do feel that altcoins can recover in a good ranging environment for BTC. But with that said, 28K area has to hold. And what will happen is if 28K does get tapped, then we're going to see BTC dominance go much higher. Altcoins are really going to die off in the short term. And at that point, I think it's going to be like the last kind of shakeout before altcoins do pretty well. So maybe this is going to be similar to what we saw last summer, where altcoins kind of flourished all throughout May. And we can just like look at the chart here if we want. Okay, so in 2020, all throughout May, altcoins like did pretty poorly with ETH/BTC just going down, and then after that it grinded up, and we saw like again a first bullish market structure, bullish trend for ETH/BTC for the first time in years. Maybe this is going to be similar price action. So like let's look at some of the BTC charts at the end of April. So what happened here was all throughout May, it looks like ETH/BTC just kind of just pulled back. And that was after its big move, which is weird because price really just consolidated all throughout this time, all throughout May, that is, throughout May. And then ETH/BTC really started to move strongly in June, it looks like. Big move up at the end of like the middle of May, end of May, and then it consolidated in June, and then it just exploded up again in July. So maybe this is similar to what we're going to see. Maybe we're going to see like price just kind of die a little bit for ETH/BTC for like a month or so. Then it will consolidate for a bit, move up, consolidate, and then we'll see some big moves again in July or so. Entirely possible. I'm kind of just viewing all scenarios. In the short term, I do think that this will probably pull back, though. So take that as you will. Anyways, I know this was a lot of rambling. There was kind of like a lot of just unorganized thoughts. I don't really do these videos scripted at all or with any sort of thesis. Well, sometimes thesis if I'm reviewing one coin. But anyways, the too long didn't read is that I do not really know where the market is headed. I think it's very choppy right now, lower leverage. I do believe that Bitcoin will eventually range and chop around, but and that will be good for altcoins, I believe. But I am viewing one final potential shakeout to 28K, in which case BTC dominance will go up, ETH/BTC will go all the way back down, and then we'll just kind of evaluate from there. So thank you very much for watching, guys.